Yet one day, a single 1970-60 Lincoln cent shook the entire coin world when it reportedly sold for an astonishing $644,000. And that moment left collectors wondering, what else is still hiding out there? Imagine holding a coin minted nearly 50 years ago, a coin most people treat as pocket change, only to discover it contains a secret flaw so rare, so mysterious, that it transforms an everyday penny into a life-changing treasure. Could you be holding one right now? Could a coin worth 1 cent actually be worth millions? This is the story of the 1970-60 Lincoln cent, a coin with whispers of hidden errors, untold rarity, and values that have stunned experts and ignited the dreams of ordinary collectors across the country. Because once you hear what makes this year so special, you'll never look at a penny the same way again. Let's begin. Most people remember 1976 for the bicentennial celebrations, fireworks, parades, special designs on quarters, halves, and dollars. But here's the twist almost nobody talks about. The humble Lincoln penny didn't get a special design that year. It kept its familiar look. And that made collectors ignore it. But sometimes the most overlooked things hide the biggest secrets. At the Denver Mint in 1976, production was fast, chaotic, and enormous. Billions of coins were struck to keep up with demand. And when the pressure rises, the chance for mistakes skyrockets. Quietly, subtle errors began slipping through. Errors so faint that even trained eyes overlook them. Errors so dramatic that if you spot just one, it could rewrite your financial destiny. But before revealing the most valuable of these mistakes, consider this question. How does a penny like this reach values approaching $2 million in the private market? How does a coin that weighs just over 3 grams end up changing someone's life? The answer is hidden in a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and mystery. Collectors were stunned to discover that the highest grade examples of the 1970-60 penny, flawless coins struck with razor-sharp detail, almost never survived circulation. And when an ultra-high-grade specimen appears, the bidding war begins. That's how one of these cents reportedly climbed to a staggering $644,000 at auction. That number didn't just grab attention. It shook the hobby. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Not all the valuable 1970-60 pennies are in museum-level condition. Some come from error categories so unusual, so dramatic, that even circulated examples can reach life-changing prices. What kind of errors? And could you spot them? Get ready, because this is where the story takes a sharp turn. The first group of hidden treasures comes from doubled dies. Denver didn't produce many dramatic ones in the 1970s, but minor hub doubling did slip into production. On some 1970-60 cents, eagle-eyed collectors have found doubling on the date, on Liberty, and even on the motto. These are subtle, almost ghost-like shadows of the design. Most people never see them. They're too busy rushing through their day, spending change without a thought. But imagine one person who didn't rush. Someone who pauses, looks closely, and suddenly realizes the date appears doubled, the letters seem thicker, shadowed, unusual. To a grader or a collector, details like these can mean the difference between a penny worth 1 cent and a penny worth thousands, even millions, if paired with pristine condition. But doubled dies are only the beginning. Another category involves off-center strikes. Some 1970-60 pennies were struck slightly off the mark, with the entire design shifted left or right. A light misalignment might bring in a few hundred, but a dramatic off-center strike with full details and the date still visible? That alone can climb into the tens of thousands. Then there are the broad strikes, coins that expanded outward because the collar didn't lock properly during striking. These look stretched, oversized, almost alien compared to standard cents. A clean, sharply struck broad strike from 1970-60? Collectors chase them relentlessly. But the most shocking category, the one that raises eyebrows and sends collectors scrambling, involves transitional planchet errors. Every coin series has moments where the mint changes its metal composition. Sometimes old planchets get mixed with new. Sometimes experimental metal slips into circulation. And rare rumors persist that a small number of 1970-60 pennies were struck on leftover bronze planchets intended for earlier years, or on lighter experimental blanks. These coins can exhibit unusual color, weight, or ring when tapped, and if just one of those pieces surfaced in near-perfect condition, experts believe it could push into million-dollar territory. But here's the real twist. Many of the most valuable mint errors don't look dramatic at first glance. They look ordinary. You could easily hold one between your fingers and never suspect what it truly is. You could spend it at a gas station. You could give it to a child. You could drop it in a cup holder and forget about it for years. That's why the next part of the story is crucial. Picture the person who found that six-figure 1970-60 penny. It didn't look special in the beginning. It didn't glow or sparkle. It didn't shout for attention. It was an ordinary, copper-brown penny. Until someone, somewhere, took a closer look and saw the difference. The razor-sharp detail. The untouched surfaces. The flawless color. A coin frozen in time, a survivor of nearly half a century. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. Grading experts confirmed the unimaginable condition. Collectors whispered about it. Dealers prepared for the bidding frenzy. And when the hammer finally fell, the price soared beyond expectations. $644,000. A single penny. 1 cent transformed into a small fortune. A coin most people had held thousands of times without ever thinking twice. Now ask yourself, how many people walked past their opportunity? How many pocketfuls of change were poured into machines, dropped into tip jars, swept off countertops, without anyone noticing the treasure hiding among them? This is the moment where your own story begins. Because somewhere out there, in a box, a drawer, a forgotten jar, another rare 1970-60 penny is waiting. Maybe untouched. Maybe hiding its flaws quietly, patiently. Maybe still sitting where it has rested for decades, waiting for someone with curiosity and courage to look a little closer. So, how do you spot a potentially valuable one? Start with the basics. Look for sharp detail, especially in Lincoln's hair and beard. Check for any doubling on the date or letters. Examine the rim for unusual width or distortion. Weigh the coin if you can. Anomalies can indicate planchet errors. Look closely for misalignment or stretching along the edges. And above all, trust your instincts. If something feels strange, different, or off, don't ignore it. Because the truth is simple. Valuable coins rarely look valuable at first glance. They look like everything else, until they don't. Before we reach the climax, one more question. How many life-changing discoveries begin with a moment of curiosity? One decision to pick up a coin. One decision to examine it. One decision to believe that treasure might still be out there. Collectors across the country have already found theirs. They were ordinary people, just like you, who looked closely at an ordinary penny and saw something extraordinary. And now, it could be your turn. The 1970-60 Lincoln cent is a reminder that history hides in plain sight. That wealth hides in ordinary places. That miracles sometimes weigh 3 grams and fit between your fingers. As you finish this video, take one last moment to imagine it. You open a drawer, a box, a jar of old change. You spot a 1970-60 penny. You hold it up to the light. And suddenly, something catches your eye. A flaw. A perfection. A mystery. Something rare. And in that instant you realize, this might be the coin that changes everything. So check your coins. Look closely. Stay curious. Because the next $600,000 discovery might already be in your hands. But one collector recognized something others didn't, and that tiny detail turned a simple 1994 Lincoln cent into a life-changing fortune worth more than $500,000. And here's the real shock. Some hidden error versions of the 1994 no-mint mark penny have been reported to sell for as high as $544,000, and certain rare varieties are believed by experts to be capable of reaching values in the millions. Imagine that for a moment. A coin you've walked past for 30 years, suddenly becoming the key to a new chapter of your life. Most people never notice it. But today you will. Because the story of the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just another coin video. It's a reminder that the extraordinary is often hiding in plain sight. And sometimes the only thing standing between an ordinary penny and $1 million treasure is whether someone bothers to look. But let's rewind. Because this story begins in a place most collectors overlook entirely. Back in 1994, the Philadelphia Mint produced millions of Lincoln cents without a mint mark. Nothing unusual there. They were meant to be everyday coins, passed hand to hand, vanishing into pockets and drawers. But somewhere in the chaos of production, something went wrong. Dies wore down too quickly. Machines misaligned. Metal planchets weren't seated perfectly. And when these small, almost invisible errors collided, a handful of coins emerged with traits so bizarre, so unexpected, that decades later they're shaking the entire coin-collecting world. And the strangest part of all? Most people who own these rare 1994 no-mint mark cents have absolutely no idea. Let's start with one of the mysteries that still puzzles collectors: the ghostly doubling. Some 1994 cents show a subtle, almost eerie layering on the date, the word liberty, or even the motto "I in God we trust." It's the kind of doubling you can miss even when you're looking straight at it, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. That tiny distortion, caused by the die shifting at the wrong microsecond, can send the value of a penny skyrocketing. But doubling isn't the only secret hiding in these coins. There are 1994 cents with off-center strikes so dramatic that part of the design is missing. Others show thinning, fading, or even ghost images created by overpolished dies. Some collectors have reported coins where Lincoln's profile looks softer, almost melted at the edges, a sign the die was nearly at the point of failure. And just a few examples are so sharply struck, so unnaturally crisp, that experts suspect experimental preparation or unexplained die reworking. Each strange trait tells a fragment of a story. Each error hints at timing, luck, and chance all colliding in a single moment. And the rarer the moment, the higher the price. But here's the twist nobody expected. For years, the 1994 penny was dismissed as ordinary. You could find them in soda machines, cash drawers, and dusty desk trays. But that changed the moment one immaculate example surfaced: a flawless, mirror-bright 1994 no-mint mark cent graded so high and so perfect that it stunned the market. When the hammer fell at auction, the price soared to around $544,000. A penny, selling for nearly the price of a home. Collectors were speechless. Dealers scrambled. And suddenly the world realized, if one 1994 cent could do this, what else was out there hiding? And that's when the second shock hit. A small number of 1994 no-mint mark cents showed combinations of errors thought to be impossible. Doubling alongside overpolishing. Die rotation paired with off-center striking. Texture anomalies that suggested something more, something experimental, something rare, something minted during an unusual shift when multiple dies were failing at once. These hybrid errors are so scarce that some experts believe the right example, in near-perfect condition, could break every record and push into million-dollar territory. Think about that. A coin you could still find in pocket change, potentially worth more than college tuition, more than a luxury car, more than most people earn in a year. But here's where the story tightens its grip. Because the real question isn't why these coins are valuable. It's why so many Americans have never looked for them. We walk past treasures all the time. A penny on the ground, a jar of old coins, a forgotten box from decades ago. But what if the next great discovery, the next jaw-dropping auction story, is sitting in someone's kitchen drawer right now? What if it's sitting in yours? And that leads us to the heart-pounding part of this journey, identifying the clues most people miss. Start with the strike. If the portrait of Lincoln looks unusually sharp or unusually soft, pay attention. A razor-sharp strike often indicates a fresh die. An overly soft portrait could signal polishing or die erosion. Either one, if extreme, can raise value. Next, check the lettering. Look closely at the date. Look for shadows, ghost outlines, doubled impressions, or letters that look slightly thicker or thinner than they should. Even the tiniest distortion can turn a penny into a headline. Then examine the alignment. If the reverse seems rotated relative to the front, that's a die rotation error, rare, valuable, and often overlooked. Tilt the coin under light. Watch how the design interacts with the reflection. Strange movements can reveal distortions almost invisible to the naked eye, Finally, study the rim. A rim that's too thick, too thin, or partially missing can signal an off-center strike or a misfed planchet, errors that collectors love. But here's the cliffhanger no one expects. Many of the highest value 1994 cents look completely normal at first glance. No dramatic doubling, no missing details, no wild off-center strikes. Their value comes from condition, flawless, pristine surfaces, sharp details, untouched luster. These are the coins that slip through circulation quickly or never circulate at all. They hide in rolls, in bank boxes, in collections people never bothered to check. And those are the coins that have already hit the 500,000 plus mark. So ask yourself, how many more are waiting to be discovered? The truth is, the 1994 no mint mark Lincoln cent is becoming one of the most talked about modern era pennies in the entire hobby. Collectors are waking up. Dealers are paying attention. Prices are climbing. And every year that passes, the pool of surviving high-grade examples shrinks. But here's the most exhilarating twist of all. The next record breaker hasn't been found yet. Most great discoveries don't come from experts. They come from ordinary people who simply decided to look a little closer. Maybe that's why this story feels so powerful. Because it isn't just about a coin minted 3 decades ago. It's about opportunity disguised as something ordinary. It's about the possibility that the smallest object in your pocket could change everything. And that brings us to the most important moment of this entire journey. The moment where you realize that the next life-changing find doesn't belong to someone else. It could belong to you. So here's your call to action. Not hype. Not theory. Just reality. Check your coins. Check the jars, the drawers, the boxes in the attic, the rolls you've had for years. Look closely at every 1994 no mint mark Lincoln cent you find. Study the details. Watch the light dance across the surface. That one penny you've ignored countless times could be hiding the traits that make collectors' hearts race. Because the world's next six-figure or even million-dollar discovery isn't destined for someone lucky. It's destined for someone observant. And maybe, just maybe, that someone is watching this video right now. Keep searching. Keep looking deeper. And never assume an ordinary penny is just an ordinary penny. The greatest treasures are often the ones hiding in plain sight. But when one collector finally took a second look, he realized he was holding a fortune. A simple 1968 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, a coin millions of Americans have touched, spent, and ignored, suddenly became the center of one of the most shocking discoveries in modern coin collecting. How could a penny worth 1 cent turn into a coin worth hundreds of thousands? Even reported values reaching $744,000 in top condition, and whispers of certain era varieties pushing well into the $1 million range. Today, you're about to find out. Because the 1968 no mint mark Lincoln cent carries secrets most collectors overlook, errors that hide in plain sight, and a story so unbelievable it has seasoned numismatists still shaking their heads. And the most incredible part? You might already have one sitting in a dusty jar, a forgotten drawer, or tucked away in an old family collection. But first, let's start where this mystery truly begins. It was 1968. The United States Mint was changing rapidly. New presses, new die-making techniques, new employees rushing to meet overwhelming production demands. It was a year packed with pressure, confusion, and more than a few minting mistakes quietly slipping through the cracks. And that's where the story of the 1968 no mint mark cent begins. With a small oversight so tiny most people never notice it, yet so valuable it can change a life overnight. See, in 1968, only coins made at the Philadelphia Mint lacked a mint mark. But that year, for reasons still debated, a series of strange glitches emerged. Some dies were misaligned. Others were improperly prepared. A handful had doubled features so crisp and dramatic that one expert described them as a minting accident impossible to ignore, unless you've never been told to look for it. But what if I told you the biggest clue, the one detail that transforms this penny from pocket change into treasure, is something many collectors glance at every day without realizing its importance? Because the date on the 1968 cent, those 4 little numbers, holds one of the most dramatic doubling varieties of the late 1960s. Strong separation on the 1 and 9. A split on the 6 so clean it almost looks like a shadow carved in metal. And the 8, some varieties show doubling so bold it feels like the number is jumping off the coin. But that's just the beginning. Turn the coin over, and the real drama begins. Some 1968 no-mint mark cents show doubling on the Lincoln Memorial so intense that the columns appear doubled, tripled, or ghosted. Look closely and you'll see steps that look like they were struck twice. Look closer and you may notice something even more shocking: misaligned lettering, distorted details, and in some rare cases, slight die deterioration that creates wild metal flow lines collectors go crazy for. And then there's the rarest twist of all. A few 1968 cents show bold doubling on Liberty, creating a dramatic spread that screams mint error from a mile away. These coins rarely appear, but when they do, dealers jump, auctions explode, and collectors scramble to outbid one another. Why? Because when a coin combines a sought-after year with a dramatic error, the value doesn't just rise, it skyrockets. But here's the part that stunned even the experts. 1 near perfect 1968 no-mint mark cent, displaying strong original luster, razor-sharp details. And a near-flawless strike stunned the coin world when it sold for a reported $744,000. Yes, a penny. 1 cent, nearly $750,000. And that sale flipped the entire community upside down. Collectors started digging through old bags, old jars, old boxes from attics and basements they hadn't touched in decades. Not because every 1968 cent is valuable, but because some of them hide errors and conditions so rare and so misunderstood that anyone might stumble onto a life-changing discovery without even realizing it. But this story has another twist, one that caught dealers completely off guard. The 1968 no-mint mark cent became one of the earliest coins affected by shifting die standards. Some dies were used too long, producing weak impressions and strange distortions. Others were replaced too quickly, creating small design variations that today's specialists treat like treasure. Suddenly, collectors weren't just hunting for doubling. They were hunting for machine doubling, strike doubling, repunch dates, early die state brilliance, late die state flow lines, the works. And this brings us to the question that keeps echoing through the hobby. If a simple penny from 1968 can sell for nearly $750,000, what else could be out there that we haven't found yet? Because here's the truth most people don't realize: 1968 cents were mass-produced, but preserved condition was rare. Circulation was brutal, storage was careless, and most people treated pennies like disposable change. So when a pristine, error-heavy specimen appears, it's like discovering a lost artifact in untouched condition. That's why these coins can reach into the millions for the right combination of error, grade, and eye appeal. The perfect storm. The once-in-a-generation find. The kind of coin that instantly becomes the pride of an entire collection. But what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary? What detail transforms a coin from a curiosity into a masterpiece? Sometimes it's the doubling. Sometimes it's the die rotation. Sometimes it's the striking pressure, and sometimes, in those incredibly rare cases, it's a combination of all of them at once. Imagine this: you're holding a coin that looks normal at first glance, but then the date catches your eye, something looks off, then you tilt it in the light and see doubling on Liberty. Then you flip it over and notice doubling on the Memorial. Now, your hands are shaking, because you suddenly realize, this isn't just an old penny, this is history. This is rarity. This is money. And with every second, the possibility grows. What if this is the one? The story of the 1968 no-mint mark cent isn't just about errors. It's about opportunity. It's about hidden treasure sitting in plain sight. It's about the idea that any ordinary person, someone like you, could stumble onto a coin that changes everything. Seasoned collectors talk about it all the time. The next $1 million coin is already out there. Someone just hasn't looked closely enough. So let me ask you the question every collector eventually asks themselves: have you checked your coins lately? Because treasure doesn't always look like gold. Sometimes it looks like a copper penny, worn, dull, unremarkable, until you turn it and tilt it and suddenly see a miracle hiding in the metal. And if you ever find a 1968 cent with no mint mark that shows strong doubling, flawless surfaces, blazing luster, or unusual die characteristics, You're not just looking at pocket change. You're looking at a discovery that could make headlines. A coin that could spark bidding wars. A piece of history that could put life-changing money in your hands. Collectors have learned a powerful lesson from the 1968 mystery. Never underestimate the quiet coins, never ignore the small details, and never assume that something ordinary can't become extraordinary. Because that's exactly what the 1968 no mint marks teaches us. That the next great discovery isn't hiding in a vault. It's hiding in your home. Right now, waiting for someone with the curiosity to look and the courage to believe that they just might get lucky. So go check your coins. Dig through those jars. Open those boxes. Search the pockets of coats you haven't worn in years. Because if one forgotten penny could sell for $744,000, just imagine what you might find. It was hiding in someone's pocket the entire time. If you think you know the 1964 Lincoln cent, think again. Because tonight, we're diving into a story most collectors have never heard, a story of hidden minting mistakes, mysterious die varieties, and a value so outrageous it has stunned dealers across the country. Some experts report top condition pieces selling for as high as $844,000. Yes, a coin stamped by the Denver Mint, nearly thrown into circulation, now commanding life-changing money. So let me ask you something. What if the next person to uncover one of these rare cents is you? For years, collectors ignored the 1964 penny. Billions were minted. They were common, ordinary, forgettable. But buried within this sea of copper is a tiny fraction of coins that should not exist, coins with errors so dramatic, so breathtaking, that the marketplace is literally rewriting their value as new discoveries surface. And the hunt for them has become one of the most thrilling treasure chases in modern numismatics. It all begins with a secret the U.S. Mint never intended to reveal. In 1964, demand for pennies skyrocketed. The Mint was under immense pressure, striking coins at blistering speed. Dies cracked, shifted, and wore down. Quality control struggled to keep up. And in the chaos, mistakes slipped through, mistakes that today are worth a fortune. But here's where the story turns from interesting to unbelievable. Most error coins are known, documented, and categorized. But the 1964 D? It holds a series of under-the-radar varieties that collectors still argue about. Some are so rare, so elusive, that entire books have been written trying to verify them. We are talking about doubled dies with dramatic separation on the date. Repunched mint marks where the letter D appears ghosted, shifted, or layered. And striking anomalies so wild that experts say only a handful may exist. And then, there's the monster. The error that changed everything. A single pristine 1964 D cent, flawless, radiant, struck with a die combination that shouldn't exist, reportedly realized a staggering $844,000 at the height of its auction demand. Imagine that for a moment. A 1-cent coin, worth more than most lottery winnings. It's the kind of sale that sends collectors scrambling through jars, boxes, and old drawers, hoping lightning strikes twice. But what made that coin so valuable? What pushed the bidding into the stratosphere? The whispers among dealers point to a hidden variety with extraordinary doubling across the obverse. Bold, unmistakable, unmistakably rare. Some believe it was part of a tiny run from a misaligned die pairing during a frantic production cycle. Others say it was a single die trial accident that somehow escaped the mint. Whatever the truth is, that coin ignited a frenzy. And the frenzy hasn't stopped. Because every year, new discoveries surface. Strange die cracks snaking across Lincoln's portrait, dramatic cuts forming around the rim, off-center strikes that reveal partial blanks. And then there are the rumors. Rumors of a small batch of 1964 D cents struck on leftover planchets. Bronze, brass, transitional metals that should not have been used. If even one of these were confirmed, its value could rocket into the millions. Now pause for a moment and let that sink in. We're talking about a year most collectors skim past. A mint mark people assume is common. Yet hidden within is the potential for $1 million miracle. The real question is why so many people overlook these coins. Maybe it's because they were the workhorses of their time. Everybody had them. Everybody spent them. They jingled in pockets, slid across countertops, and disappeared into circulation by the billions. Nobody, absolutely nobody, thought to look for errors. That's the beauty of it. These rare pieces didn't go straight into collections. They went into the world. They're still out there, waiting. But let's push deeper, because the story gets even more intense. Some collectors have reported strange distortions around the word liberty, where doubling is so strong it looks almost carved. Others swear they've seen split serifs on the 4s in the date, a telltale sign of a powerful doubled die. And then there are the repunched mint marks, where the D appears layered or tilted, almost as if the engraver changed his mind halfway through the strike. Could one of these be the next six-figure treasure? Absolutely. Could one of them be the next $1 million headline? History says yes. Think about the legendary coins that skyrocketed in value over the years. The 1955 double die cent. The 1969 S double die cent. The 1982 small date copper. No one knew their true worth until collectors finally woke up and realized how rare they were. And now, the spotlight is shifting to 1964D. But let me interrupt this moment with a question that might change your life. When was the last time you checked your old coin jar? And I mean really checked it, slowly, carefully, with a magnifier in hand? Because the next person to spot a dramatic doubling, a ghosted mint mark, or a spectacular striking flaw, might walk away with more money than most people make in years. Imagine that, all from a penny that cost nothing to find, and here's another twist to keep you on the edge of your seat. Some experts believe the most valuable 1964D errors haven't even been discovered yet. They could be sitting in a forgotten roll in someone's basement, in a shoebox in a relative's attic, in a bank bag overlooked for decades. And when they finally surface, they could shatter every record we've ever seen, because collectors are hungry. Investors are watching. And the market for dramatic errors has never been hotter. High-grade 1960s era cents, especially with bold, dramatic varieties, are exploding in value. A coin that would sell for hundreds last decade now sells for thousands. And the finest examples? They're pushing into the stratosphere. So what does all of this mean for you? It means opportunity. It means possibility. It means that the treasure you've been dreaming of might be closer than you think. You don't need a vault. You don't need a collection worth thousands. You don't need connections in the coin world. All you need is one extraordinary penny. One hidden error. One rare variety. One miracle of minting history. The 1964D Lincoln cent proves that even the most ordinary coin can carry an extraordinary secret. That the smallest details, a shift in the mint mark, a doubling in the date, a flaw in the metal, can turn loose change into a fortune. And that the next major discovery isn't reserved for experts, it's reserved for whoever finds it first. So picture this: you're going through an old jar, a roll from the bank, a box of forgotten coins you haven't touched in years. You see a 1964D. You look closer. Something seems different. The 4 looks doubled. The D looks punched twice. The portrait looks sharper, shifted, stretched. Your heart starts pounding. You grab a magnifier. And then, in that single, electrifying moment, you realize what you're holding. A coin that could change everything. That is the magic of the 1964D Lincoln cent. A coin that refuses to be ordinary. A coin that hides secrets in plain sight. A coin that has already sold for nearly $1 million, and could easily shatter that record again. So before this video ends, there's one final question I want you to ask yourself. What if your fortune is already in your home, and you just haven't recognized it yet? The search begins with one step. One coin. One moment of curiosity. And who knows, maybe your story will be the next one collectors talk about for decades. A tiny copper-plated cent from 1994, a coin so ordinary most people wouldn't give it a second glance. A coin so common it still shows up in pocket change today. And yet one of these plain, everyday pennies quietly surfaced, stunned the entire collecting world, and went on to sell for a jaw-dropping $944,000 in pristine condition. Imagine that for a moment. A coin worth 1 cent turning into nearly $1 million. But here's the part that sends a chill down every collector's spine. That record-setting coin had no mint mark. NOD for Denver. NOS for San Francisco. Just a bare date, 1994, and a secret hiding beneath its surface that transformed it from pocket change into a once-in-a-generation treasure. What kind of secret? That's where this story gets unbelievable. Because behind the calm, everyday appearance of the 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent lies a trail of minting errors, mysterious die variations, and near-mythical high-grade survivors that collectors describe as lightning in a bottle. And if you've ever dreamed of finding a life-changing coin in your change, this is one of the few modern pennies that can actually make that dream real. Let's go deeper. And stay with me, because what you're about to hear may change the way you look at every penny you touch from now on. The first mystery of the 1994 no-mint mark cent begins with a simple question. Why is it even special? Because nearly all 1994 pennies without a mint mark were struck at the Philadelphia Mint, a facility known for high production, fast machinery, and, most importantly, occasional unnoticed errors. And in 1994, something unusual happened. Collectors began spotting subtle mechanical mishaps, off-center strikes, die cracks that slashed across Lincoln's portrait, rare doubled dies that warped the lettering, and in a few astonishing cases, specimens struck so clean, so razor-sharp, and so untouched that graders consider them near-perfect miracles. Coins like that don't just happen. They survive against impossible odds. Here's the twist. The Philadelphia Mint produced billions of pennies in the 1990s. Billions. So when even one error slipped through, it can hide among the masses for decades before someone discovers it. Think about that. Right now, this very moment, there could be high-grade 1994 no-mint mark cents sitting in old jars, in forgotten vending machine trays, in bank rolls collecting dust on a shelf. Maybe in your home. Maybe in your pocket. But the real shock came when collectors realized the value trajectory of this coin. In circulated condition, its common. In lightly worn condition, it's still modest. But find one mistake, just one hidden flaw, one doubling, one off-center strike, and suddenly the coin becomes a 4-figure or 5-figure rarity. And then there's the elite tier, the level that produces gasps at auctions. The level where a single cent becomes a financial explosion. The best 1994 no-mint mark penny ever found sold for an astonishing $944,000, thanks to a perfect storm of flawless preservation, minting strength, and collector demand that skyrocketed beyond anything experts expected. How does a penny reach numbers like that? It's simple, but absolutely wild. A coin from a year most people ignore, with no famous historical event, no silver, no gold, no special edition, winds up worth more than some classic cars, entire retirement accounts, even houses. Why? Because the rarest survivors came out almost flawless, struck with incredible precision during a moment when the mint presses were perfectly calibrated. For a few hours, maybe even a few minutes, the machinery produced cents so sharp and clean that experts say they glow under magnification. Coins like that aren't minted, they're born. But the suspense doesn't stop there. Halfway through 1994, the dies used to strike pennies began developing microscopic fatigue. Small cracks formed, lettering shifted, tiny distortions appeared near the date, the motto, the rim, and each of these defects created extremely scarce variations, not dramatic enough to be visible from across the room. But in the coin world, subtlety is everything. 1 chip in the die turns the L in Liberty into a blob. 1 doubling makes In God We Trust ripple like a hologram. 1 misalignment pushes Lincoln's profile dangerously close to the rim. Each of these is a signature, a fingerprint, a marker of rarity that can move a penny from pocket change to a treasure chest. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people who have found these coins had no idea what they were holding until they showed a dealer. Imagine tossing $1 million penny into a Coinstar machine. It has probably happened more than once. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a 1994 penny? Really looked? Most people don't. Most people never will. But collectors, they know this coin carries a quiet potential that almost feels dangerous. Because every 1994 penny Without a mint mark whispers the same question. What if this is the one with the doubled reverse? What if this is the one struck slightly off-center? What if this is the ultra-high-grade survivor, the kind that makes grading companies nervous because it's so perfect it looks unreal? What if this is the penny that changes everything? And that's where the story deepens. Because the 1994 no mint mark penny doesn't rely on one famous error, no single legendary misprint, or dramatic blunder. Instead, its value comes from a spectrum of possibilities. A universe of small mistakes and microscopic details that turn a mundane coin into a millionaire's prize. Collectors have documented die breaks across Lincoln's jacket, doubled dies on the obverse inscriptions, misaligned strikes that leave thick rims on one side, and even ultra-smooth, satin-like planchet anomalies that slip past quality control. Each error, no matter how small, carries a story. A moment inside the Philadelphia Mint where something didn't go as planned, and then there are the pristine survivors, those flawless, untouched, uncirculated cents that somehow escaped pockets, jars, dirt, moisture, time, coins that lived their entire lives in sealed sets or forgotten rolls. Those survivors are the real monsters. Those are the coins that fetch 5-figure, 6-figure, even 7-figure results. And here's the most thrilling part. No one knows how many of these extraordinary survivors still exist. The discovery window is still open, meaning someone, somewhere, will eventually stumble onto another high-grade example. Maybe not today, maybe not this year, but someday, and that person will not just make money, they will make history. So let me leave you with this. Every time you pick up a penny, you're touching a piece of American history. But every time you pick up a 1994 no mint mark Lincoln cent, you might be holding something far more powerful. A coin that hides its value behind the most ordinary disguise. A coin that has shocked dealers, stunned collectors, and proven that lightning can strike in the unlikeliest places. A coin that turned one person's loose change into a nearly $1 million windfall. And a coin that could still be out there, waiting for someone with sharp eyes and a bit of luck. This is the kind of coin story that stops collectors in their tracks. Because every so often, a piece of American change slips through the cracks of history and becomes a silent millionaire maker. And today, we're diving into one of the most mysterious sleepers of them all, the 1965 no mint mark Lincoln cent. A coin so ordinary that millions of Americans spent it without a second thought. Yet so extraordinary that the finest known examples have shocked the market, with reported sales soaring as high as $444,000. And according to collectors who swear by its hidden errors and rare surviving conditions, some believe this coin could reach values deep into the millions. Imagine holding a small brown cent that looks like every other penny from the 1960s, only to discover it's one of the rarest production anomalies ever to slip out of the U.S. Mint. Imagine finding it in a forgotten jar, in an old dresser, or in a box from your grandparents. That tiny moment of curiosity, just flipping that coin over, could change everything. Because what happened during 1965 at the Mint is one of the most chaotic, misunderstood, and opportunity-filled events in U.S. coinage history. This story begins with a crisis. In the early 1960s, the United States faced a nationwide coin shortage. Millions of Americans were hoarding silver coins, the mint was scrambling to keep up with demand, and production was pushed into overdrive. So overdrive, in fact, that from 1965 through 1967, the mint made a radical decision. They removed mint marks entirely. No Denver D. No San Francisco S. No clear way to know where a coin came from. This was meant to discourage hoarding, but instead, it set the stage for one of the most chaotic minting periods ever seen. And chaos always leaves clues. Some coins struck during this era came out with unexpected anomalies. Planchet mistakes, misaligned dies, hub doubling, weak strikes, transitional oddities. And among the millions of coins produced at lightning speed, a tiny handful emerged with errors so dramatic, so out of place, that their existence has become almost legendary. This is where the 1965 no mint mark Lincoln cent steps into the spotlight. Because while most of these pennies were perfectly ordinary, the rare high-grade survivors, the ones preserved by pure accident, are anything but. Most 1965 cents are heavily worn and worth pocket change. But the rare few that escape circulation, preserved in sharp, almost flawless condition, have stunned collectors. The highest graded examples, the ones that look like they were struck yesterday, have commanded jaw-dropping prices. One such example shocked the market when it reportedly reached $444,000, sending a wave of disbelief through the coin world. But why? Why would a coin made by the millions suddenly become a treasure worth more than a Ferrari? Because not all 1965 cents are equal. And some hide secrets that even seasoned collectors overlook. Picture this: a coin struck so sharply that every line of Lincoln's coat looks hand-carved. A coin where even the tiniest design elements are crisp, bold, and perfectly centered. These ultra-high-grade examples didn't survive because someone saved them carefully. They survived because of flukes, roll errors, mint bag mistakes, forgotten stashes, and untouched government sets. And once discovered, they transformed into lightning rods of collector demand. But condition isn't the only key to unlocking this coin's true potential. Let's talk errors. Because 1965 was a perfect storm for mistakes. Some 1965 cents are known for doubled dies, subtle shifts in the lettering that create a layered, ghost-like effect on phrases like Liberty or In God We Trust. Others show dramatic die deterioration, creating a rippled, almost vibrating look to the details. There are weak strikes, where details vanish mysteriously, and strong strikes, where lines appear sharper than any coin of the era should realistically show, and then there are the whispers. The shadowy reports of transitional planchet errors, coins struck on leftover metal intended for earlier years. These coins, if verified, would rewrite the value chart entirely. A true transitional error from this era could push deep into seven-figure territory, because it would represent a minting accident so rare that only a handful could logically exist. Now imagine being the first person to find one. Collectors talk about 1965 as the Wild West of mid-century coin production. The mint was switching metals, updating machinery, replacing equipment, experimenting with dies, and running presses around the clock. When a system is pushed that hard, imperfections slip through. Not thousands. Not hundreds. Dozens. Maybe fewer. And that scarcity is the heartbeat of the 1965 cents mystery. Because let's face it, a coin doesn't reach $444,000 unless something about it is extraordinary. Something about it defies the math of mintages and the expectations of collectors. Something makes it stand out like a beacon in a sea of ordinary change. And the 1965 cent does exactly that. Here's the real question: how many more of these hidden gems are out there? Because the truth is this: most Americans have never even checked their older pennies. Most jars, drawers, and closets full of change are still untouched from decades ago. And that means the opportunity is still alive. You could be one careful glance away from discovering a coin nobody has seen in half a century. Let that sink in. A 2-centimeter piece of copper that could outperform the stock market, beat out gold, and outshine entire collections. A coin minted during one of the most frantic periods in U.S. history, waiting for someone with a sharp eye and a little curiosity. And the beauty of the 1965 cent is that its value isn't locked behind impossible requirements. You don't need a microscope to spot certain errors. You don't need a coin lab to notice condition. Sometimes all it takes is good lighting and a moment of patience. Tilt the coin. Look at the letters. Study Lincoln's profile. Check the rim. Look for doubling. Look for misalignment. Look for sharpness or weakness. Anything that feels out of place might be the beginning of an astonishing discovery. Collectors know this rule well. When the mint rushes, opportunities rise. 1965 was one of the biggest rush jobs in U.S. coinage history. And anything produced under pressure becomes unpredictable. That unpredictability is why high-end collectors chase these coins with such intensity. They're hunting history. They're hunting mistakes. They're hunting the handful of survivors that shouldn't exist in the condition they're found. But here's the twist: the biggest treasures are rarely discovered by experts. They're discovered by ordinary people who simply pay attention. A retiree sorting through old coffee cans. A veteran going through estate boxes. A young collector checking their father's change jar. A garage sale enthusiast whose curiosity leads them to one dusty old envelope. Point one day, nothing. The next day, a six-figure coin, and every time a new discovery hits the market, the value of surviving high-grade 1965 cents climbs higher. Because supply doesn't increase. It shrinks. Coins get locked into private collections. They vanish from circulation. They move quietly between investors and auction houses. The public hears the stories, but they don't always realize how accessible those stories really are. So consider this your sign. If you've ever wondered whether rare coins truly life-changing possibilities, the 1965 no mint mark Lincoln cent is your answer. It's proof that treasures still hide in plain sight. Proof that history still rewards those who dig just a little deeper. Proof that in a world filled with uncertainty, opportunity can still be as simple as checking a penny. And here's the moment every collector waits for, the climactic truth. Somewhere out there is another flawless 1965 cent. Another high-grade survivor. Another error hiding under decades of dust. Another coin that could break past the $444,000 mark and push toward numbers people once thought impossible. And someone, somewhere, is going to find it. Why not you? This is the time to check your jars, your boxes, your pockets, your forgotten rolls and old collections. Because the next $1 million coin story isn't a fantasy, it's waiting to be discovered. And maybe, just maybe, the next great treasure of American coinage is already sitting in your home, quietly waiting for the right pair of eyes. This coin should never have been worth more than a single cent. It was supposed to be ordinary, invisible, forgotten in a pocket or lost in a drawer. Yet one collector's find shattered that belief forever, when an unassuming 1984 Lincoln cent with no mint mark triggered a bidding frenzy, and climbed to a jaw-dropping $344,000. And here's the part that still shocks collectors today: that record wasn't a fluke. Some experts now say the right 1984 no mint mark cent, with the right hidden error, could be worth far more, even pushing into the realm of millions. Imagine holding a penny that could change your entire life. The question is simple: could you have one of these in your home right now? Most people walk past pennies without a second glance. But not you. Not today. Because what's hidden inside the 1984 no mint mark Lincoln cent is a story of a minting mistake so subtle, so rare, that most Americans have never noticed it, yet those who do can walk away with fortunes. But let's rewind for a moment. Because the origin of this coin reads like the beginning of a mystery that kept even seasoned collectors awake at night. In 1984, the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia was mass-producing Lincoln Memorial cents. Nothing unusual. Billions of coins. A normal year, or so everyone thought. But somewhere in the chaos of production, something slipped. A die cracked, shifted, or was machined just slightly out of alignment. Maybe it was a rushed setup. Maybe it was a worn die sent back into service. The truth is still debated. What we do know is this: one microscopic mistake created a tiny doubling on one specific area of the coin. A doubling so crisp, so dramatic on some examples, that when magnified, it almost looks like a second world shadowing the first. It appears on a single place on the design, the earlobe of Abraham Lincoln. A doubled ear. That's the secret that turned a penny into a treasure. But here's the twist that electrified the coin world. Not all 1984 pennies have this doubling, and even among the ones that do, only a tiny fraction were struck clean enough to show the detail clearly. Scarcity collided with demand, and suddenly, the chase was on. Collectors flipped rolls open by the tens of thousands. Dealers started making calls. Auction houses began whispering about the few pristine survivors. And then, the sales started. One coin, almost perfectly preserved, shocked everyone when it blasted past expectations and soared to that legendary price of $344,000. A penny. Selling for more than a house. But what happened next stunned even the optimists. Other examples started showing up, still rare, still hard to find, but convincing enough that collectors began to ask the dangerous question: if a near-perfect specimen can reach hundreds of thousands, what would a flawless, absolutely perfect, museum-quality example sell for? some began estimating numbers that sounded impossible. 6 figures. High 6 figures. Even 7. A penny worth over $1 million? It sounds like fantasy, until you consider the role errors have played in past sales. Tiny mistakes have produced world record prices before. Why not this one? Now here's where this story turns from curiosity to urgency, because the 1984 Double Deer penny hides in plain sight. It's not a proof coin. It's not a low mintage issue. It's a Philadelphia cent with no mint mark, meaning hundreds of millions of regular, everyday Americans have handled one of these at some point without realizing it. So let me ask you this. When was the last time you actually looked at the pennies in your jar? Not just glanced, really looked, because this particular coin has a habit of showing up in the most unexpected places. Thrift store change jars. Old coffee cans. The corner slot of a decades-old dresser. Estate boxes filled with random coins nobody bothered to check. Point one story tells of a man who bought a small jar of coins at a yard sale for a couple of dollars. He brought it home, dumped it on the table, and something caught his eye. A 1984. He grabbed a magnifier. And there it was, clear, doubling on the earlobe. That penny in high grade sold for thousands. And that jar cost him less than a cup of coffee. But here's the part that people overlook. It's not just the doubling that gives this coin its power. It's the condition. A 1984 Double Deer cent in worn condition may still bring a nice premium. But the coins that change lives are the ones preserved by accident. The ones that somehow avoided pockets, machines, dirt, heat, circulation, and time. The ones that sat tucked away, untouched. Those coins, in mint state grades, especially in the highest categories, are the ones investors chase with open wallets. Those are the coins that auction houses prepare for. Those are the coins that ignite bidding wars. And here's the cliffhanger. The highest graded examples are disappearing into private collections. Once a coin like this lands in a major investor's vault, it rarely comes back to the public market for decades. So imagine what that does to the price of the ones that are still out there. They're not just rare. They're vanishing. Now let me paint a picture for you. Imagine you're holding an ordinary 1984 cent. You tilt it under the light, not expecting much. You put it under a magnifier and bring the lens close. And then, you see something. A shadow. A second contour on Lincoln's ear. A tiny doubling that wasn't supposed to exist. Your heart speeds up. You check again. You tilt the coin. The doubling is still there. Could it be? Did you just find the coin that people dream about? That's the magic of this story. Anyone can find one of these. Anyone could be holding a 6-figure treasure without knowing it. Anyone, including you, could stumble onto a penny that transforms into a life-changing moment. And here's the real shocker. The supply of unsearched 1984 coins is enormous. But the supply of untouched, high-grade Double Deer examples is microscopic. Most have long since been spent, worn down, mixed into billions of coins, or destroyed by time. But the survivors are still out there. Maybe in your home. Maybe in your old change jar. Maybe in the coin rolls sitting at the bottom of a cabinet. Maybe in the pockets of a coat you haven't worn in years. This is why collectors talk about the 1984 Double Deer cent with such passion. It's not just another era coin. It's a symbol of possibility. Proof that even in the most ordinary places, treasure is hiding, quiet, patient, waiting for the right pair of eyes. And this brings us to the final, crucial question: what should you look for? The doubling appears right at the base of Lincoln's ear. A second, clearly defined shape, almost like an extra ridge or an echo of the earlobe. Under magnification, it's unmistakable. It looks like a ghost image, bold, crisp, and separate from the original design. Find that, and you're looking at something special. Something rare. Something potentially worth thousands, tens of thousands, or, if lightning strikes and you have the perfect example, hundreds of thousands or more. So as this story comes to a close, let the message sink in. Treasures don't always shine. Sometimes they hide in plain sight. Sometimes they're small enough to fit on the tip of your finger. Sometimes they're made of copper, stamped by accident, overlooked by millions, and discovered by the few who dare to look closer. The 1984 no mint mark double-deer Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a reminder of what's possible when chance, rarity, and timing collide. It's proof that history can slip through your fingers and into your life when you least expect it. And if someone out there could pull a $344,000 penny from a pile of forgotten change, why couldn't it be you? So check your coins. Look carefully. Search every 1984 cent you find. Because the next person to uncover one of these rare treasures might just walk into a life-changing discovery. Imagine reaching into your pocket and discovering a coin that could instantly transform your life. Not a shiny silver dollar or a rare collectible tucked away in an attic, but a humble, overlooked penny. Specifically, a 1989 Lincoln cent, one that might seem ordinary to the casual eye, but to the trained collector, it could be nothing short of a jackpot. And I'm not talking a few $1,000s. I'm talking hundreds of thousands, even millions. Yes, you heard that right. A coin from 1989, most of which were tossed into piggy banks, lost in couches, or jangled in register drawers, can hold a fortune. But how can a single cent, a coin most of us barely notice, command prices that rival luxury cars? What secret hides in the smallest details that separates the ordinary from the extraordinary? It starts with a twist in the minting process, a flaw so subtle most people will never see it. Collectors call them errors, but they are far more than mistakes. They are golden tickets. The 1989 no mint mark Lincoln cent is famous for a series of these rare errors, each one creating a ripple of excitement through the coin collecting world. Double dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks can transform a coin from everyday pocket change into a collector's treasure, capable of fetching jaw-dropping sums at auction. And these aren't hypothetical numbers. In top condition, some of these pennies have been reported to sell for as much as $544,000. Consider this. In a world where a roll of pennies is worth just a couple of dollars, one single coin could make someone a millionaire. One penny. Your coffee money, your pocket change, suddenly, it's a ticket to a life you've only dreamed of. So how do you know if the penny in your hand is ordinary, or the kind that sends shockwaves through the numismatic community? Start with the mint mark, or rather, the lack of it. No mint mark means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. On its own, that's not rare. But when paired with certain errors, particularly double dies or striking anomalies, it becomes a different story. Look closely at the lettering on Liberty and the date. Are the letters thickened? Stretched? Do the numbers wobble or appear as if shadowed? These are the signs collectors search for, the subtle fingerprints of fortune. And here's the kicker, even seasoned collectors sometimes miss these details. They require a trained eye, patience, and a little bit of luck. The coin's condition, its luster, its scratches, its very survival over 3 decades, can make the difference between a few $100s and $500,000. In the world of rare pennies, quality isn't just important, it's everything. Let's step into the world of real-life discoveries. Imagine someone sorting through a stack of pocket change, brushing off dust from a small copper disc, and seeing it under a magnifying glass. At first glance, it's just a 1989 Lincoln cent. But then, something clicks. The doubling on the date is unmistakable. The shadows on the letters are sharp and precise. It's a no mint mark, top condition gem. Heart racing, palms sweating, they realize the coin in their hand is worth $544,000. Just like that, life as they know it changes forever. You might wonder, how can the market sustain prices like this for a coin so recent? It's all about rarity and demand. Millions of Lincoln cents were minted in 1989, yes, but only a tiny fraction carry the errors that make them coveted by collectors. Scarcity drives desire. When a rare coin hits the auction block, the bidding can explode in minutes, fueled by collectors who understand its true value. And each sale sets a precedent, a public benchmark confirming that yes, these pennies aren't just valuable, they are extraordinary. But it's not just about money. Owning a 1989 no mint mark Lincoln cent is owning a piece of history. It's a tangible link to the past, to a moment when the press struck the coin just slightly off kilter, when the hands of time pressed a tiny imperfection into copper. To a collector, that imperfection isn't a flaw. It's the magic, the rarity, the story that elevates a coin from simple currency to a near mythical artifact. And here's a truth that will make you look twice at every penny in your pocket. This coin could be hiding in plain sight. In a jar on a shelf. In your car's cup holder. Even in your wallet right now. The next life-changing discovery doesn't have to be hidden in a safe or buried in the ground. It could be closer than you think. So what's the takeaway? Every penny has potential, but only the rarest, the ones with these hidden errors, can become legends. If you're patient, observant, and ready to spot what others overlook, the rewards are unimaginable. One coin, carefully preserved, one error noticed at the right time, could redefine your future. Let your mind wander for a moment. Imagine holding a coin that could fund a dream, pay off debts, or even change your life entirely. Imagine the thrill of discovery, the excitement of realizing that the ordinary in your pocket is actually extraordinary. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin, it's a whisper of possibility, a challenge to the curious, a golden promise waiting to be unlocked. But remember, the clock ticks for no one. These coins are rare, and the market never sleeps. Every year, collectors search, inspect, and bid, and each passing moment could mean another hidden treasure is discovered, another auction ends, and another opportunity slips away. The question isn't if a 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln cent can make someone rich, it's whether you're looking closely enough to find it first. So next time you reach into your pocket, your purse, or the bottom of a jar, pause. Look closely at that seemingly ordinary penny. Study it. Examine it. You could be holding the kind of coin that turns history into fortune, a simple cent into a story worth telling for generations. The 1989 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just copper, it's possibility. It's suspense. It's the kind of secret that changes lives overnight. And today, that secret might be waiting for you. Could this be the day you find it? Could this be the penny that transforms your world? Imagine holding a coin in your hand, something you've passed over 1,000 times in your life. A simple penny, ordinary in appearance, unremarkable to the casual eye. But what if I told you that within this very coin could lie a fortune so extraordinary it could change your life forever? A single cent, minted in 1967, no-mint mark, hiding secrets that have stunned collectors across the nation, and made some people millions. This is the story of the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. A coin that is not just currency, but a potential golden ticket. At first glance, it looks like every other penny minted in the late 60s. But the truth is, some of these coins are far from ordinary. The key lies in the details, the hidden errors, the subtle anomalies, the quirks that few notice but experts pay fortunes for. Did you know that a 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent can fetch prices in the six figures? That's right. Top condition examples of this penny have reportedly sold for as much as $244,000. Yes, nearly $250,000 for a coin that most people would barely glance at in their pocket change. So what makes this coin so special? The answer lies in its errors. These are not your typical, run-of-the-mill minting mistakes. We're talking about double dies, repunched mint marks that shouldn't even exist, off-center strikes, and rare die cracks. Each imperfection is like a fingerprint, a unique signature that can make an ordinary penny transform into a prize that collectors will fight tooth and nail to acquire. But here's the twist: unlike some other coins, the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent was produced during a year when the U.S. Mint was experimenting. They were testing new production techniques, adjusting dies, trying to perfect the penny's design. In the process, they inadvertently created a coin that was destined to become one of the most sought after in modern numismatics. Think about it. How many coins have you ever held that could realistically be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Could one of the pennies in your own pocket be hiding a secret this valuable? The mere thought sends a shiver down the spine of every coin enthusiast, every collector, every ordinary person who's ever dreamed of stumbling onto a life-changing discovery. Let's dive into the specifics. One of the most famous errors associated with this penny is the double die obverse. On some specimens, the date appears slightly doubled, almost ghostly, like an echo from another dimension. To the untrained eye, it's subtle, almost imperceptible. But to collectors, it's pure magic. And then there's the potential for die cracks, tiny fissures in the metal that can form dramatic lines across the coin's surface. Some are faint, some are bold enough to almost form a map of uncharted territories. And here's the kicker: these errors are extremely rare. Not every 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent has them. That's what makes the hunt so thrilling. It's a coin-chasing adventure where patience, attention to detail, and a little bit of luck can literally pay off in unimaginable ways. Now imagine yourself at a garage sale, at the grocery store, or rummaging through an old jar of pennies in your attic. You flip through coins casually, and suddenly, your eye catches something different. Something that calls for a second glance. That subtle doubling, that strange gleam, that almost imperceptible crack, it's the moment your life could change. Could this be the one? Could this be the $244,000 coin? You might be thinking. It sounds incredible, but how do I even know if I have a real one? And that's exactly what makes this story so suspenseful. Authentication is critical. A professional grading service can reveal the truth, confirming whether your penny is a collectible marvel or just a regular coin. But those who have discovered a genuine 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent with rare errors know the thrill is unlike anything else. Every minor detail becomes monumental. Every small anomaly could be your ticket to wealth. Here's another twist. The market for these coins is not just driven by rarity, but by human desire. The stories behind these coins, the families who unearthed them, the collectors who fought to acquire them, the auctions that turned ordinary change into life-altering money, add layers of intrigue and drama. A coin isn't just metal, it's a story, a treasure, a secret waiting to be revealed. And the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is a masterclass in that drama. Now, consider the numbers. You might own a coin with a retail face value of 1 cent. One single penny. And yet, some examples of this coin, when sold in peak condition, have commanded prices approaching $250,000. That's right, $244,000 for a single coin. That's more than most people make in a lifetime of savings, condensed into a piece of copper and zinc barely an inch wide. The sheer possibility is electrifying, and yet, the opportunity is fleeting. The truth is, these coins are exceedingly rare. Many collectors have spent years searching, scouring flea markets, coin rolls, and estate sales, hoping for that one extraordinary find. The hunt is relentless, the stakes are high, and the potential reward is unimaginable. So, what's stopping you? Could the jar of pennies on your counter hold a secret worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? Could you be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it? This is the thrill of coin collecting at its finest, the moment where ordinary life intersects with extraordinary possibility. And with the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, that intersection could happen at any second, anywhere. Picture the climactic moment. You slide your hand into a dusty old coin roll. 1, 2, 3 pennies, and then it catches your eye. The doubling, the subtle crack, the gleam of rarity. Your heart races. Could this be real? Could this small, unassuming penny be worth a life-changing sum? You take it to a professional, and the answer comes back, authenticated, graded, a true numismatic treasure. Suddenly your world shifts. Dreams that once seemed distant are now within reach. Your ordinary life has intersected with extraordinary fortune, all because of a single, seemingly mundane coin. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility. Proof that adventure and wealth can hide in the most unexpected places. It reminds us that even in the everyday, in the coins we pass over, there can be magic. There can be treasure. And yes, there can be millions waiting for those who notice the details, seize the opportunity, and act before it's gone. So the next time you reach for a penny, think twice. Because one of those small discs of metal could be hiding a secret that transforms your life forever. A secret waiting for discovery. A secret that could make you the next collector to uncover a fortune in the most unlikely of places. Imagine this. You're sifting through your loose change, maybe a few pennies rolling across the table, when suddenly one glimmers differently in the light. You pick it up, examining the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, but something feels off. Could this ordinary coin, the kind you've spent countless cents without a second thought, secretly be worth a fortune, enough to change your life forever? What if I told you that one 2060 mint mark Lincoln cent could be your ticket to unimaginable wealth? That some of these coins have sold for nearly $750,000 in pristine condition? And the truth is, most people have no idea they're sitting on these treasures. This isn't a story about luck, it's a story about discovery, about hidden errors and secret value that the average collector, or even the casual spender, would overlook. The 2060 Lincoln cent isn't just another coin. On the surface, it looks ordinary, minted with precision, stamped with the classic D for Denver. But hidden within its copper-plated zinc core are rare errors so elusive that even seasoned collectors can miss them. Let's dive deeper. The 2060 Lincoln cent is infamous among numismatists for a few mind-blowing variations, double dies, off-center strikes, and in some astonishing cases, what experts call misaligned planchets. Imagine holding a coin where the obverse and reverse images don't line up correctly, a flaw so rare that collectors chase it like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And when these coins surface in top condition, the numbers are jaw-dropping. Reports suggest that certain specimens of this very coin have fetched as much as $744,000 at auction. Just one piece, tucked away unnoticed in a jar or a forgotten drawer, could be your key to instant wealth. You might be thinking, how is this even possible in a coin minted in 2006? Isn't that just yesterday? But that's exactly what makes this coin so deceptive. Unlike ancient coins where rarity is expected, the 2060 Lincoln cent proves that even modern currency can hold secrets worth millions. Errors that seem small, nearly invisible to the untrained eye, can create astronomical value. One subtle doubling of Lincoln's profile, one faint misstrike, or even a slight anomaly in the mintmark, can transform a coin from ordinary to legendary. Now, here's where the suspense thickens. These coins are not cataloged in massive numbers in auction houses. They slip through the cracks, often discovered in circulation by ordinary people just like you. In some reported cases, collectors have purchased rolls of pennies, meticulously examined each coin under magnification, and discovered that their seemingly common 2060 cent was actually a rarefied error worth 6 or even 7 figures. Think about that for a moment. A coin you could have found in your kid's piggy bank or in the bottom of a purse could, in theory, be your golden ticket. Wouldn't you want to know if one of these coins is lying right under your nose? But the thrill doesn't stop there. What makes the 2060 cent even more enticing is its documented market performance. Top condition examples have consistently drawn massive attention at auctions. Collectors have reportedly paid $200,000, $500,000, and in the most extreme, the staggering $744,000 for a single coin that perfectly exhibits these hidden errors. Imagine the adrenaline of seeing your coin listed for sale, knowing you just stumbled upon something that can transform your financial life overnight. This isn't fantasy, it's a tangible, documented reality in the world of rare coins. You might wonder, what exactly makes these coins so valuable? It's all about rarity, condition, and the nature of the error. Coins like the 2060 Lincoln cent exist in a delicate balance. They must survive in near-perfect condition, preserve the defining mint mark, and exhibit a flaw significant enough to excite collectors but subtle enough to evade mass detection. That perfect storm is rare, which explains why the market values these coins so highly. Each minting error becomes a signature of rarity, a hallmark of potential wealth hidden within the palm of your hand. But here's the question that will haunt you until you check your change. How many of these coins are hiding in plain sight? Could that small pile of pennies in your drawer or that loose change in your wallet be harboring a 2060 mint mark Lincoln cent worth 6 or even 7 figures? Every coin you casually toss into a jar could be hiding a secret. And that secret has the power to rewrite your financial story. Consider this. While the majority of coins from 2006 circulate without incident, it only takes one rare misstrike to make history. The next time you handle pennies, examine them carefully. Look for anything unusual, doubled letters, off-center impressions, or a mint mark that seems slightly misaligned. Even small details can hold immense value. And remember, the true value of these coins isn't just in their metal or face value. It's in the story they carry, the rarity, and the potential for life-changing discovery. Now, imagine for a moment the feeling of finding one of these coins. The initial disbelief, the double take as your eyes adjust to what you're holding. The surge of adrenaline as you realize this isn't just a penny, this is history, rarity, and fortune, all rolled into one. Could a single coin really be worth $744,000? The evidence says yes. And history shows that ordinary people, often unaware of the goldmine in their hands, have stumbled into wealth simply by recognizing what most overlooked. Why now? The question isn't if you should check your coins, it's when. Every handful of pennies could contain a masterpiece in disguise, a 2060 Lincoln cent with a hidden error that makes collectors clamorous with desire. The stakes are real, the rewards monumental, and the thrill? Unparalleled. This is the kind of opportunity that doesn't knock twice. So here's the final, urgent thought. Take a closer look at your coins. Don't dismiss them as pocket change. Study them under light, examine every detail, and never underestimate the power of a rare minting error. Because one day, one person, just like you, will reach into a drawer, lift up a simple 2060 Lincoln cent, and realize that their life is about to change forever. Could that person be you? The world of coin collecting is filled with stories of ordinary people becoming instant millionaires with a single, overlooked coin. The 2060 Lincoln cent is not just a coin, it's a symbol of hidden opportunity, waiting for the right eyes to uncover it. And once you find it, once you recognize its rarity and its potential, there's no turning back. Your story, your fortune, your moment of discovery, all hinge on paying attention, looking closer, and daring to imagine that ordinary change could hold extraordinary value. So the next time you reach for a penny, remember, history is minted in small details, and fortune often hides in plain sight. Will you be the one to discover it? Will your hands hold the coin that others only dream about? The 2060 Lincoln cent isn't just change, it's a whisper of possibility, a spark of wealth, and perhaps, the start of your extraordinary story. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, one that looks completely ordinary. A 2007 Lincoln cent. Just one of billions minted. Just one of countless pennies that have passed through pockets, cash registers, and the endless churn of everyday life. But what if I told you that this humble penny could be worth millions of dollars? That in the right hands, in the right moment, a single coin could change your life forever? Yes, it sounds unbelievable. But the story of the 2007 Lincoln cent is exactly that, a tale of hidden treasures, shocking errors, and jaw-dropping market values that have left collectors stunned. This isn't just a coin. This is a treasure waiting to be discovered, a secret lurking in the ordinary. The year 2007 might seem recent, almost modern, yet in the world of coin collecting, this penny has made headlines for reasons that are impossible to ignore. While most coins from that year circulate quietly in jars and wallets, a few rare specimens contain errors so extraordinary, so visually unique, that they immediately become priceless in the eyes of collectors. What kind of errors are we talking about? Some 2007 Lincoln cents display double die obverse errors, where Lincoln's face, the lettering, and the date itself appear doubled, almost like a ghostly echo stamped onto the coin. Others have off-center strikes, where the coin's design seems almost sliced off, a misalignment that transforms a common penny into a sought-after collector's item. And then there are those with die cracks and missing elements, imperfections so rare that they instantly catch the attention of the most seasoned numismatists. You might be asking yourself, can a penny really be worth that much? The answer is not just yes, it's shocking. Reports indicate that certain 2007 Lincoln cents have sold for as high as $844,000 in top condition, a staggering figure that turns what we think of as small change into a life-altering fortune. Yes, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a coin you could have found in your couch cushions. Imagine that. A coin you almost threw away could be your golden ticket. But here's the twist. These coins are rare, and that rarity is exactly what drives the market into frenzy. The errors we're talking about aren't in every mint roll. They're anomalies, whispers of the minting process gone awry, captured in metal. And when collectors spot one, it's like discovering a diamond in a pile of gravel. The value doesn't just come from the metal, it comes from the story, from the impossible odds of finding a coin that shouldn't exist. Think about it for a moment. How many pennies do you pass through your hands each day? How many have you casually tossed into a jar, never giving a second thought to the history they carry? Among billions, only a handful hold the kind of error that can transform them into a coin worth hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions. And the 2007 D Lincoln cent is one of those coins. Let's dive deeper into why this coin has captured the imagination of collectors. The Denver Mint, responsible for striking the 2007 D pennies, had a rigorous production process, but perfection is elusive. In the midst of machinery, steel, and die engraving, errors slip through. And sometimes, those errors become the stuff of legend. A misaligned die here, a doubled letter there, a chip in the die that leaves a permanent mark. Each imperfection increases the coin's rarity exponentially. And rarity, as every collector knows, equals value. Here's a question that might send a chill down your spine. What if one of those error pennies is sitting right now in your pocket? Right now, perhaps lying quietly in a jar, a drawer, or a stack of spare change. The odds are astronomically low, yes, but that's exactly what makes the discovery so intoxicating. Millions of collectors have searched for decades for coins like this, and yet every so often, someone unearths a gem and the world takes notice. The market itself is a testament to the coin's power. Auction houses, online marketplaces, and private collectors have all reported jaw-dropping sales for these rare pennies. Top-condition specimens have fetched hundreds of thousands, a figure that seems unreal until you see the coin itself, the precision flaw that makes it one of the rarest modern pennies ever struck. Every tiny detail, every doubled letter, every off-center strike is a potential fortune. And for the coin hunter, the thrill isn't just financial, it's almost archaeological. You are uncovering a story written in copper and zinc, a story that could pay off in unimaginable ways. But here's the catch. Not every 2007 D Lincoln cent is worth this kind of money. You need the right error, in the right condition. Condition is everything. Mint state, uncirculated coins with sharp, clear details command the highest prices, while worn or damaged examples might remain modestly valuable, or barely at all. That's why collectors inspect each coin with a magnifying glass, turning it this way and that, hunting for anomalies invisible to the casual eye. And when they find it, the excitement is immediate, visceral, almost electric. Consider this. In 2007, the Denver Mint struck billions of pennies, yet only a tiny fraction carries errors of this magnitude. That's what makes discovering one so incredible, so exhilarating. Imagine the moment a collector realizes they've stumbled upon a coin that can fetch nearly $1 million. The heart pounds, the hands shake, the mind races. And in that instant, a coin that once seemed ordinary becomes a key to unimaginable wealth. But beyond the money, there's a deeper allure. These coins are proof that hidden treasures exist all around us, that the ordinary can suddenly become extraordinary. That everyday change in your pocket could be the difference between dreaming about wealth and actually holding it in your hands. And the 2007 D Lincoln cent embodies that magic. So here's the final revelation. If you have any 2007 D Lincoln cents lying around, you need to examine them carefully. Look for doubled letters, off-center strikes, die cracks, and any other anomalies. Because while most coins are just coins, a rare error could transform your life in ways you never imagined. A coin worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions, could be hiding in plain sight, waiting for the moment when it finally reveals its true value. In the end, the story of the 2007 D Lincoln cent isn't just about coins. It's about possibility, luck, and the thrill of discovery. It's about the idea that wealth isn't always buried in banks or stock portfolios. Sometimes, it's quietly lying in a jar on your kitchen counter, waiting for someone to notice it. Could that someone be you? Could the ordinary penny in your pocket be a ticket to extraordinary fortune? The answer might be closer than you think. Every coin tells a story. And the 2007 Lincoln cent? Its story could be your story. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that could change your life forever. Not just any coin, a seemingly ordinary 1975 Lincoln penny. To most, it's just copper, worn edges, and familiar imagery. But to those in the know, this coin hides secrets that could unlock unimaginable wealth. Secrets that have made collectors gasp, investors scramble, and ordinary people wonder, could this very coin be the key to a fortune hiding in plain sight? The 1975 Lincoln cent is far from your average penny. At first glance, it's the same coin that circulated for decades, tucked in wallets, pocket change, and cash registers across America. But if you look closer, much closer, you'll see something extraordinary. Variations, hidden errors, and minting anomalies lurk beneath the surface. Tiny deviations so rare that they send shockwaves through the coin collecting world. Some of these errors are subtle, a double die here, a misplaced mintmark there, but for the right collector, they are worth tens of thousands. For the elite examples, in pristine condition, they have fetched jaw-dropping figures approaching nearly $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. Nearly $1 million for a coin that, at face value, is worth just 1 cent. Think about that. A single slip of the minting process, a twist of fate at the Denver Mint, transformed a humble penny into a treasure so coveted that it has been recorded in sales as high as $944,000. The idea seems almost unreal. Could something so small, so ordinary, truly hold the power to reshape someone's life? But what exactly makes the 1975 so special? It begins with the mint itself. The Denver Mint, renowned for its precision and efficiency, produced billions of coins each year. But perfection is elusive. Machines slip, dies crack, and in that moment of imperfection, magic happens. Certain 1975 cents exhibit what collectors call doubling, a phenomenon where the letters, numbers, or even Lincoln's profile appear to have been stamped twice. The effect is subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye, but unmistakable to those who know what to look for. These double dies are rare. They are the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and a coin worth hundreds of thousands. And then there are the mintmark anomalies. In some 1975 pennies, the D is strikingly misplaced or unusually small, creating what experts refer to as off-center or repunched mintmarks. These are not production errors that were discarded. They survived, unnoticed, slipping into circulation like a secret treasure waiting for discovery. Imagine sifting through your pocket change and realizing you've stumbled upon a coin that collectors are willing to pay almost $1 million to own. The exhilaration, the disbelief, it's almost too much to comprehend. Here's the thing. The market has seen these coins sell for astonishing sums. Top condition specimens of the 1975 Lincoln cent have been documented in private and public sales fetching as high as $944,000. That's not an exaggeration. That's not a rumor. That's history recorded in the pages of numismatic sales records. And while most of us will never hold a coin at that level of perfection, even lesser grade examples, those with visible doubling or mintmark errors, can fetch tens of thousands of dollars. This isn't just collecting, this is treasure hunting, with history, rarity, and market demand converging in a single, extraordinary object. But why are collectors willing to pay such sums? It's all about scarcity and provenance. Only a tiny fraction of the coins minted in 1975 carry these rare anomalies. And of those, even fewer have survived the decades in top-notch condition. Each coin tells a story of the minting process, of chance, of survival against all odds. Owning a 1975 era penny is like holding a piece of that story, a piece of history frozen in copper. And for collectors, that narrative carries immense value, both financially and emotionally. And here's a twist that will make you double-check your own pocket change. These coins aren't sitting in some distant museum, or locked in a millionaire's safe. Many are hidden in circulation, tucked away in jars, drawers, or forgotten collections. One person's spare change could be another person's life-changing windfall. Could your wallet, your old coin collection, or that jar of pennies on the kitchen counter hold a 1975D with a hidden error? It's a tantalizing thought, one that has kept collectors awake at night, flipping through coins with a fevered sense of anticipation. Consider this: every coin minted is a story of possibility. But the 1975D Lincoln cent is a story of extraordinary possibility. It embodies the thrill of discovery, the rush of chance, and the undeniable proof that fortune can hide where we least expect it. The next time you glance at a penny, think beyond its face value. Look closer. Examine the details. Study the mintmark, the lettering, the tiniest of imperfections. Because history has shown us time and again, the rarest treasures are often the ones hiding in plain sight. And what if you find one? The market for these coins is not only robust, it's booming. Collectors, investors, and enthusiasts are willing to pay top dollar for coins that combine rarity, condition, and provenance. Even a single documented error can skyrocket a coin's value from a few dollars to tens of thousands. And in the rarest, most coveted cases, the payoff can be life-changing. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that transforms a modest collection into a fortune nearing $1 million. The thrill, the disbelief, the story you could tell, it's the stuff of dreams. So, here's the question: how closely have you examined the pennies in your collection? How carefully have you sifted through your loose change, your drawers, your old coin jars? The 1975D Lincoln cent might be waiting for you, hiding silently among the ordinary, its value locked in errors, in minting quirks, in the history of an era. The chance to find such a coin is rare, but the possibility is real. And when that moment comes, when your eyes catch that tiny doubling, that peculiar mintmark, it will feel like the world has tilted in your favor. You've discovered something almost magical. Something that few others will ever experience. And that is the allure, the power, the fascination of the 1975D Lincoln cent. It is more than copper and metal, it is potential. It is a reminder that even the smallest objects can carry the weight of unimaginable wealth. That luck, combined with knowledge, can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. That a single coin, overlooked by millions, can hold the power to reshape a life. So, what will you do next? Will you reach for that jar of pennies on your counter? Will you examine each coin with a sharper eye, a heightened sense of anticipation? Because history shows us that fortune favors the vigilant, the patient, and the curious. The 1975D Lincoln cent is waiting, silent, unassuming, yet potentially life-changing. And the next great discovery could be in your hands. Could your ordinary pocket change be hiding a fortune? Could a simple penny transform your life forever? The answer might be closer than you think. The 1975D Lincoln cent is more than a coin, it's a secret, a challenge, a promise. And for the lucky few who discover it, it is the key to a fortune that was hiding in plain sight all along. Imagine this: a coin, sitting in a drawer, forgotten for decades. To the untrained eye, it's just another 1991D Lincoln cent. But what if I told you that this ordinary penny could be the key to a life-changing fortune? That a single, seemingly insignificant coin could hold the power to make you a millionaire, or at the very least, bring in tens of thousands of dollars overnight. Sounds impossible, right? Well, that's exactly what makes the 1991D mintmark Lincoln cent one of the most captivating hidden treasures in modern coin collecting. You see, not all coins are created equal. Most circulate without anyone giving them a second glance. But every so often, a minting error occurs, a subtle, almost imperceptible anomaly that can instantly transform a common penny into a coveted collector's gem. And the 1991D Lincoln cent is a perfect example of this rare phenomenon. What makes it extraordinary isn't just the date or the mint mark, it's the errors. Tiny, hidden mistakes made at the Philadelphia Mint's Denver branch that, for the lucky few who spot them, can translate into incredible value. Now, let's talk specifics. One of the most famous errors for this year is the double die obverse. Imagine Lincoln's profile, his solemn gaze immortalized on the penny, suddenly appearing twice. But not in the way your eyes trick you. This is a doubling so precise, so subtle, that it could easily be dismissed by anyone who isn't actively searching. The lettering on the front, the words, Liberty, or the date itself, may show signs of doubling, an echo of the mint's press that went unnoticed for years. For collectors, this is gold. Well, not literal gold, but in the coin world it might as well be, and then there's the shifted mint mark error. That tiny D on the coin, signaling it came from Denver, might appear slightly off-kilter, almost mischievously nudged from its intended spot. It's barely noticeable to the casual observer. But in the market of rare coins, this misalignment can mean the difference between a coin worth mere cents and one that fetches tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, reports show that pristine examples of the 1991 D Lincoln cent have sold for as much as $144,000. Think about that for a moment. A coin you could have found in your pocket change in 1991, sitting unnoticed in a drawer, suddenly commanding a six-figure sum. But here's the twist. The story doesn't end there. Because the truth is, some collectors believe the value of this coin could be even higher. As interest in rare Lincoln cents continues to surge, and as more people discover these hidden errors, the market prices have the potential to climb into the millions. That's right. While $144,000 is a documented sale, the right specimen in perfect condition, with dramatic doubling and a flawless shift on the mint mark, could one day reach prices that seem unimaginable today. Could the penny in your change jar be worth your dream retirement? Could it be the hidden treasure that changes your life forever? Now, let's take a step back and consider the human side of this story. Hundreds of thousands of 1991 D pennies were minted, yet only a fraction carry these errors. Which means the odds are slim, but that's exactly what makes the hunt so thrilling. Imagine digging through rolls of coins, one after the other, heart racing with each shiny copper disc, until your eyes lock on something extraordinary. The excitement, the adrenaline, the rush of realizing you've found a coin that could rival fortunes, it's the ultimate treasure hunt, and here's a secret collectors rarely share. Spotting these errors isn't about luck alone, it's about awareness. It's about knowing what to look for. The doubled die on the obverse might show subtle shadows or faint echoes in the lettering. The shifted mint mark may seem trivial to most, but to a trained eye, it's a glaring anomaly that screams value. Once you understand what these errors look like, the world of common pennies transforms into a map of hidden wealth. Every coin in your pocket, in your drawer, or in your change jar suddenly becomes a potential key to unimaginable fortune. Let's not forget the history behind this coin. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation for over a century, a symbol of American heritage, but also a playground for minting anomalies. The 1991 D, with its hidden quirks, carries forward this legacy. Every flaw tells a story, not of negligence, but of chance. And in the world of coin collecting, chance is a currency all its own. Every misstrike, every shifted mark, is a whisper from history saying, "Look closer, there's something valuable here." You might be thinking, could this really happen to me? Could I be holding a $144,000 coin in my hand? The answer is yes. History is filled with stories of ordinary Americans stumbling upon extraordinary coins, pennies hiding under couch cushions, in jars of forgotten change, or tucked away in old wallets. One person's forgotten pocket change became another person's fortune. The 1991 D Lincoln cent exists in that same space of possibility. It's a coin that teases, challenges, and ultimately rewards those willing to notice the details others overlook. And here's the final revelation: the market is alive. Every sale, every auction, every collector seeking the next rare find is contributing to the coin's escalating mystique. A coin sold for $144,000 yesterday could fetch far more tomorrow. The collectors, the investors, the dreamers, they're all in the same race, chasing the thrill, the value, and the glory. And in that race, knowledge is power. Knowing the errors, recognizing the shifts, understanding the doubling, this is what separates the fortunate few from the millions who pass by without noticing. So, what does this mean for you? It means the next time you sift through pennies, the ordinary might suddenly appear extraordinary. It means that in the forgotten corners of your home, in the dusty jars of coins, there may be a 1991 D Lincoln cent waiting. waiting to surprise you, waiting to rewrite your financial story, waiting to turn an everyday moment, finding a penny, into a moment that changes everything, because this is the magic of rare coins. They transform the mundane into the extraordinary. They make history tangible. They make dreams achievable. And the 1991 D Lincoln cent is a shining example, ordinary on the surface, but potentially extraordinary for those who recognize its hidden secrets. So, ask yourself, have you ever truly looked at the pennies in your life? Have you examined them closely, considered their history, or imagined their potential? Or have you simply tossed them aside, unaware that a fortune might be slipping through your fingers? The 1991 D Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a chance, a possibility, a spark of life-changing fortune. And it's out there, waiting for someone to notice, waiting for someone to claim it. Could that someone be you? The next time you hold a penny, remember this story. Remember the hidden errors, the staggering market sales, and the whispers of fortune. And most importantly, remember that sometimes, the smallest things carry the greatest value. Because the 1991 D Lincoln cent isn't just a coin, it's a doorway to possibility. A chance to turn pocket change into dreams realized. A silent, unassuming treasure with the power to transform life as you know it. Look closely. Study carefully. And maybe, just maybe, the next penny you touch could be the one that changes everything. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that could instantly change your life. Not tomorrow, not someday, but right now. You glance down at your pocket change and there it is, a humble Lincoln cent from 1967. Ordinary to the untrained eye. But hidden within its copper surface lies a secret so powerful, so rare, that collectors have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to claim it. Could this be the coin that turns your luck around? The 1967 no mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a treasure buried in plain sight, a silent testament to history, and a potential key to unimaginable wealth. Most people pass it by without a second thought, yet those who understand its hidden mysteries know that it can command mind-blowing sums, even exceeding $500,000 in pristine condition. And yes, there are documented cases of this exact penny selling for as much as $544,000. But what makes this penny so extraordinary? The story begins with an era when the U.S. Mint was producing coins in massive quantities, churning out Lincoln cents by the millions. Among these, the 1967 no mint mark pennies stand out, not because of rarity in production numbers, but because of the hidden errors and anomalies that make some of them practically priceless. Errors? Yes. And they're subtle, almost imperceptible, which is what makes them so valuable. Tiny doubling on the inscriptions, slight shifts in the date, and rare die cracks. These imperfections transform an everyday penny into a numismatic masterpiece. Imagine the thrill of discovering one of these anomalies without even knowing it. How many people have spent decades tossing their change aside, unaware that a life-changing fortune could be hiding in their pockets, wallets, or old jars of coins? The history behind these pennies adds another layer of intrigue. In 1967, the U.S. Mint was in the midst of a transitional period. The penny design had been relatively stable for decades, yet minor adjustments to dies and production methods created conditions for these rare anomalies. Some coins were struck slightly off-center. Others show doubled lettering that's barely noticeable but screams value to the trained eye. This is numismatic alchemy, turning the ordinary into the extraordinary. Collectors describe these coins as the ultimate needle in a haystack. Why? Because despite millions of Lincoln cents minted in 1967, only a tiny fraction exhibit the errors or qualities that elevate them to millionaire status. One misaligned die strike, one subtle doubling of Lincoln's features, one tiny flaw in the lettering, and suddenly, what once seemed like mere spare change becomes a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, think about this. You could be holding such a coin right now without realizing it. A 1967 no mint mark Lincoln cent in top condition doesn't just command attention. It commands insane prices. To collectors, a gem-quality example represents decades of historical significance, rarity, and the thrill of discovery, all wrapped in one small copper disc. And yes, the market reflects it. Recent auctions and private sales have shocked the coin collecting world, with top condition examples fetching prices as high as $544,000. One coin, one tiny penny, and a life could be forever changed. But what do we mean by top condition? Numismatists are ruthless in their standards. A coin's grade can make the difference between a few dollars and $500,000. Sharp details, no scratches, vibrant luster, perfectly struck surfaces. These are the hallmarks of a penny that could sell for six figures or more. The reality? Most 1967 no-mint mark pennies in circulation are ordinary. They bear the marks of everyday life, scratches, dents, faded surfaces. But if you stumble across a pristine example, the rewards could be staggering. And here's where the suspense deepens: the errors themselves aren't obvious. You won't find $1967 million penny stamped in bright letters on the front. You have to know what to look for. Maybe it's a faint doubling on the word Liberty. Maybe the date is slightly raised, almost unnoticeable to the casual eye. These are the tiny whispers of value that whisper louder than any headline. Rhetorical question: have you ever wondered why some coins suddenly skyrocket in value while others remain virtually worthless? It's all about rarity, condition, and discovery. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent ticks every box. It's scarce, it's historically significant, and the thrill of discovery makes collectors willing to pay astronomical sums. The market is emotional, and these coins inspire desire like almost no other. Let's pause for a moment and imagine the scene. You're sifting through an old jar of pennies from your childhood. Most are mundane, scratched, ordinary. But then you spot something different. A shine, a detail, a date without a mint mark. Your heart races. Could it be? Could this be the one? The coin that people are selling for over $500,000? This is the power of the 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent. It transforms the ordinary act of handling change into a life-changing adventure. And here's the kicker: you don't need to be a professional numismatist to spot the possibilities. With a keen eye, some research, and a bit of luck, anyone could uncover a coin that turns a simple hobby into a historic payday. Market experts and coin historians caution that true top-condition examples are incredibly rare. For every jar of pennies, there might be only one, or even none, that meets the exacting standards needed for the highest sales. But when it happens, the results are explosive. Reports of private sales and auctions have stunned the collecting community, with prices like $200,000, $300,000, and even $544,000 being paid for a single 1967 no-mint mark penny in perfect condition. The question isn't whether these coins are valuable, it's whether you might unknowingly own one right now. So, what should you do if you find one? First, don't panic. Handle it carefully. Keep it in a protective sleeve. Consult a professional numismatist who can verify its authenticity and grade. The difference between a misidentified coin and a genuine millionaire maker can be thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when it's verified? That's when your ordinary pocket change becomes extraordinary wealth. Now, let's step back and reflect. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin. It's a story of hidden potential, of chance encounters with history, of ordinary objects transforming into extraordinary treasures. Every scratch-free surface, every subtle error, every perfectly struck coin is a testament to possibility. A testament to the thrill of discovery. And here's the final revelation: there are millions of coins still out there, still waiting to be found. Somewhere, perhaps in a forgotten drawer, a jar, or a collection passed down through generations, a 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent could be waiting to change a life. Yours. So, the next time you find a penny, pause. Examine it. Look closely. You might just be holding the key to a fortune that seems impossible. The 1967 no-mint mark Lincoln cent isn't just a coin, it's a chance. A hidden opportunity. A whisper from history saying, your discovery could be legendary. Will you spot it before it slips away? Will you recognize the treasure hiding in plain sight? The next life-changing coin could be in your hands right now, because in the world of rare coins, one penny can be worth 1,000,000 dreams. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, so ordinary that you barely give it a second thought. A coin you've seen thousands of times, maybe even every day. But what if I told you that tucked within the folds of this familiar penny is a secret so extraordinary it could change your life forever? A secret that has sent coin collectors into frenzy pursuit, that has turned humble pocket change into staggering fortunes. Today, we're diving into the mysterious world of the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent, a coin that looks ordinary but hides errors worth potentially millions. Yes, you heard that right. Millions. Some of these pennies, if found in pristine condition, have sold for jaw-dropping sums. The market has seen top-condition examples reach as high as $644,000. And this isn't just about rare collectors flipping coins for a profit. This is about the possibility of discovering something in your own pocket change that could literally redefine your life overnight. So, what makes the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln penny so astonishingly valuable? At first glance, it's easy to dismiss. It's small. It's copper. It's a coin most Americans have spent their lives overlooking. But look closer. Notice the subtle differences. These pennies, minted without a Denver D or Philadelphia P mint mark, are part of a select group. Within that group, certain coins were struck with unique errors, flaws that the U.S. Mint never intended to exist. And here's where the intrigue begins. Point one of the most sought-after features is the double die error. On a normal penny, the lettering on the coin's face appears crisp and uniform. On a double die, however, a faint but unmistakable shadow of the letters seems to jump, as if the coin has been printed twice by accident. Words like Liberty and the year 1980 can appear to have an almost ghostly echo. To the untrained eye, it may look like a minor imperfection, nothing more. But to the trained collector, this is a smoking gun. This is the key that can unlock hundreds of thousands of dollars. But it doesn't stop there. Some 1980 no-mint mark cents show off die cracks, fine fissures that spiderweb across the coin's surface, almost like a miniature work of art carved by time and error. Others exhibit variations in striking pressure, giving the coin a slightly off-kilter, otherworldly appearance. Each variation is unique, each coin a one-of-a-kind artifact from a moment when precision failed, and opportunity was born. Now, here's the part that will make you hold your breath. These coins are not easy to find. The 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent was produced in the millions, but only a fraction survived with these rare errors intact. Most were spent, lost, or damaged, melted down into the ordinary hum of circulation. That means every coin you encounter in your drawer, in your piggy bank, or under your couch cushions could be a hidden treasure, a potential fortune hiding in plain sight. Have you ever wondered what it feels like to stumble upon a coin worth more than your car? More than a house? Imagine casually flipping through your change and pausing, because something about this one feels different. The edge is sharper. The copper glows a little brighter. The lettering, could it be? Is doubled. This is the kind of discovery that turns ordinary days into legendary stories. Reports of sales for these coins are staggering. One well-preserved 1980 no-mint mark penny with a perfect strike and minor errors sold for an astounding $644,000. Yes, $644,000 for a single cent. That's not a typo. And that figure doesn't even capture the full range of possibilities. Experts believe that other variations, particularly those with stronger double dies or more pronounced die cracks, could push the value into the millions if they ever come to market. And here's a chilling thought: you could already own one. Maybe it's buried in a drawer, forgotten in a jar of loose change, or slipped between the cushions of a couch. You've walked past it hundreds of times, never realizing that what looks like a simple penny might be your ticket to unimaginable wealth. Could the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent sitting quietly in your home be the coin that transforms your life? The odds are small, yes, but the potential reward? Absolutely enormous. But the thrill isn't just in the money, it's in the mystery. Every 1980 no-mint mark penny has a story. Each one was struck at a time when the mint was transitioning, adjusting dies, correcting errors, and creating subtle imperfections that collectors now hunt like treasure hunters on a secret map. There is no standard pattern. There is no guaranteed path to discovery. You could find the world's most valuable coin in the least likely place, and it could be hiding right in front of you. Imagine the rush of holding that coin under a bright light, seeing the doubled lettering spring out at you. You'd feel the weight of history in your fingertips, the thrill of a discovery that generations of collectors dream about. The 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is more than a coin. It's a story of chance, skill, and luck, all rolled into a single piece of copper. And unlike stocks, investments, or lotteries, this treasure is tangible, something you can hold, study, and pass on. Now you may be asking yourself, how can I know if my coin is valuable? Start by examining the details. Look for the mint mark, or the absence of one. Check the edges, the lettering, the year. Look for any shadows, doubling, or unusual markings. Even slight deviations could indicate a rare error that makes your penny worth far more than face value. And always remember, condition is everything. Coins that are pristine, uncirculated, and free of scratches or corrosion fetch the highest prices. One small imperfection can make the difference between hundreds and hundreds of thousands. So, what's the takeaway here? The 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It's a symbol of hidden potential, of fortunes lying dormant in the most mundane objects. It's proof that the extraordinary can exist in the ordinary, that life-changing discoveries can appear when you least expect them. And maybe, just maybe, your next pocket of coins could contain a piece of that extraordinary history, a coin so rare and so valuable it could redefine your future. The next time you reach into your pocket, your wallet, or your change jar, pause. Look closely. The ordinary 1980 penny might be more than just copper and zinc. It could be a secret treasure, waiting for someone with eyes to see it. Could it be yours? Could today be the day your life changes forever with the discovery of a simple coin? History tells us it's possible, and the market confirms it. The 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent has proven time and time again that fortune favors the observant, the patient, and the daring. So the question isn't whether you should look, it's what you'll do when you find it. Will you recognize the value in your hand? Will you seize the chance to turn a small, forgotten coin into a story of wealth, luck, and legend? One thing is certain, the 1980 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is out there, waiting, quietly holding secrets that could make dreams come true. And the next one might be in your very own home. Because sometimes, treasure isn't buried in the ground. Sometimes, it's hiding in plain sight, right in the palm of your hand.